start from scratch. So again, here are our pages. Here is our main page. This is going to be the cover of our document. So let's work on here. I am going to import that image. Now, here is the bleed that I created earlier when I set up the page, which is, again, it's a great way to set it up. Even if you don't bleed, it's a great way to set up 1/8 inch on the outside and 1/4 inch all the way around on the inside of your document. 1/8 inch here, 1/4 inch here. So when you create text and different things that you don't mind being cut off, don't go past this inside line. Now, if you're dealing with a printer and they're gonna bleed for you, likely they won't, but you just want some breathing room. So let's go ahead and fill in this space with an image. So we're gonna go back over here to our rectangle frame tool. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the outside where my bleed is because I want my image to come into this entire spot, including my bleed. So then we go File, Place. I have some images set up for us. So I'm going to bring in that beach image again, open. Again, now let's look at this. This is not what we want because we want to see more of the image. So while it's highlighted, we right click, fitting, fit content to frame, and it fits in there really nicely. Okay. Now, if you don't want to see all of these lines, if they're sort of distracting, you just want to see it nice and clean, you can do Control or Command semicolon. It just shows you nice and clean. And this, but we want to keep these on so we'll know where to put our context. Okay, our content. All right, so let's pull in a logo. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my rectangle frame tool. I'll go ahead and start it here in this corner. I want it to be a square, so I'll fit it in here. I'll do File, Place, and I have an image here. I'm just going to put the Ocean's Edge logo here. Marketing logo. Okay, again, it's not fitting very well. I right click and I do fitting, fit content to frame. And do you see how it is distorted? Well, we don't want that. So let's Control Z, right click, fitting, fit content proportionally. And then you get the way that the image is supposed to look, okay? Again, I think you can hide your frames here. Hide rulers, guides and grids. Okay, here we go. You want to hide, if you want to hide frame edges, excuse me, you can. And that way you can just sort of see how it looks in a clean way. Now, if we roll over it, you can still see your frame edges, but I sort of like to design without my frame edges so they just don't look distracting when I'm trying to look at the document all in all. So let's hide those frame edges. And again, that's View, Extras, Show and Hide Frame Edges, okay? All right, so now we have our logo on here. So we're getting somewhere. So let's go back to, again, let's do it together, but I want a color story because again, I want to start creating some things, but I don't want to eye drop everything. So let's go ahead and do your color theme again. And oh, this is nice. They gave me black, and they gave me black now because on my page I added the black logo. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add this story to my swatches. All right, now I have some swatches. Okay, so now we have imported a logo, and this is a PNG logo. If you notice, it is transparent. And then we imported an image. Okay, so now let's get some type going on. Okay, so say I want to put the word marketing brochure here. So you always make a frame box. I'm within the frame box. Now I'm going to write marketing brochure. Within that frame box, I want to highlight it because now that I'm working with text, all of my options are here at the top of my screen. Here's a marketing brochure. If I want to change anything about this text that I wrote, you highlight it and all of our options are here. Okay, just like it is in all of the Adobe programs. So I found a nice font that I like. So here's a font. I changed the font. Simple enough. I want it bigger. Now, if I don't want to keep clicking like this, I can take it, do Command Shift or Control Shift, and it makes it bigger. But see, my frame box is big. I don't need all of that, so I can go ahead and change the size of my frame box. Shift Commands, Shift Control, and it makes this, oops, excuse me, makes it as big as I want. Okay. And say I want to change the color. I think this is simple enough. You highlight it, you come here, and let's say I want to use one of those colors for my color theme. I like this color. And you can change it there. Now, you see when I move this, you see that little pink line that pops up? That shows me where I am in the center. That's also across the Adobe programs. And you want to be like, especially if you're creating a newsletter or a layout, you always want to make sure that that is centered. All right. I'm not really sure about that color. So let's see if we can change it to a different color. Double click. Oops. Double click will give you a free, like where you can pick any color, but that's not what I want to do. I want to get to our swatches. I just press this little arrow here. Go back down to our color theme. I want to change it green instead. I'm not really feeling that either. So I'll just change it to black. So it also gives you an option here. I can go here and change my color, or I can go here and change my color. It gives you options if you have your swatch window open. Okay. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. All right, actually, I'm gonna change this to white. All right, so that's how you add text. That's how you add a logo and how you add an image. Okay, do you guys have any questions so far? Pretty cool, right? Pretty simple stuff. And it's pretty straightforward. All right, so let's make this look halfway decent. So now I'm pressing Command or Control Shift on my PC, Command Shift on your Mac. I put this here. Now I just want to create a line that goes up here. So I take my line tool, I'm pressing Shift, and you see how it does it at different angles? So it gives you like a 45-degree angle here if you're pressing Shift. If not, it's a free transform. So I'm going to press Shift because I just want a straight line down. I want that line to be, let's do a double line, and I want it to be white. I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. So we'll put that there. And then let me open this up and just say Oceans Edge. And let's go here up to where I can change my font. And let's make it the bold italic. So anytime you have a font, you have the options for that font down below. Sometimes, of course, a font will have regular, medium, bold, italic. It can have extra bold, all these different options for the font. The options for the font will be right under where the font's listed, and that's across all Adobe programs. All right, so here's my font. I want to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know why it's looking weird like this. Let's just change it to medium. And then, okay, so now I want to change the color of this font. So what do I do? Babina, how do I change the color of this font?
better. Better. Yeah. I thought was up there.
Do
But
you
you say you
remember?
can do directly when the swatch. I never heard that one
Yes,
before. Yeah,
but
you can do directly there. You see that, but you say you got it highlight.
yes, exactly. You highlight
Highlight
it
it and then go up. It should be over there with yeah, the T.
right here.
Yeah. You go there,
Okay.
click there, and choose the color you want. If you want this swatch, you can go down to your theme color, number 2, and then choose whatever color you want. You can choose
Perfect.
the one.
Bravo.
A little bit
Excellent.
like Canva, better. A little bit,
Yes.
it's not much. The different setup is different, but
Very
way more
similar,
Canva.
right?
Yeah.
That's why I really like that you guys both worked in it because it's so similar. It's not there's these programs may have a little bit more to offer, but you understand like if you have that type of layout designer's mind, it's just so simple. Okay, so within the text box, there also are some options here. So again, if I'm clicking on this text box, say for example, I want to okay, this is it. So I want to move my text in the center of this, the center of the text box. Those options are here. So right now it's at the top of the text box. You see, if I put it at the bottom, it's here. If I put it in the center, it's here. Okay, so that just gives you a little bit even more control over where you have the text in your text box. I definitely want it in the middle. So then I can do Control CV, and I'm going to do another one that says, let's make it say roasted edge, for example. So I want to change this to a different color. Let's bring it down. Actually, it's not a great color. Let's change it to black. Okay, so you guys get it. Very simple, okay? So now, I mean, that cover looks okay, but you can do things, anything as far as layout as, you know, whatever you're thinking, you can pretty much do. If you want options for your background frame, that's how you just click on that. That gives you options. Now, for example, say we have some text here that we want to add. We do this. We open up our box. I don't know if I still have that filler text down. Okay, so let me go grab some filler text. And we do this. Now, for example, say that you want, and again, you see how those guides come up? It's so good. Those guides, that green guide here that pops up, it just shows you that I'm in line with that, which is exactly what you would want. If I come down, it shows me that I'm in line with this. And those guys are great to help you line things up. I mean, you can pull down your ruler. What I did was click on the ruler line and I'm holding it. I can pull it down and I can make little ruler lines if I like. But the beauty of it is that these smart guides will really help you line things up. Okay. So say, for example, I have this, and do you see how it's sort of challenging to read? So we can click on this. And do you remember this tool here, the gradient feather tool? It'll be a great tool to feather that out if you wanted to, if you had a layout where you still wanted the image in the back, but you really wanted to see your fonts and you want to see your text. And because of that, it gives us options. I can darken this text. I can darken this text. I can darken this text. So it's just a way to give you a different type of design element. And you can start doing some finesse type of things. Oops, I got to grab that E. All right. But it can still make a really clean looking layout. I'm going to control this a little bit smaller. Oopsie. Now, say I wanted to move my, oops, Say I wanted to move my image within, do you see how I'm moving this image within the bounding box, but it's not going outside of the bounding box? You can do that with this direct selection tool. But say, not only that, I want it to move out a little bit. I want it to put Control minus to zoom out a little bit. Say I wanted just to move it where I saw a little bit more, I needed a little bit more space over here. So you would click on your direct selection tool. If I press shift, now I can make the image bigger, but I still keep my bounding box. So that gives it a little bit more, it lines it up better. Say I want these people right here underneath the logo. I want that more in the corner. You're able to move that within that box without altering the size of your box with the bleed that you have. So you can start really doing some nice things, okay? I think you guys are getting it. You guys have any questions? It's pretty straightforward, huh? Okay, so now I'm going to show you, say you had an element, and say I wanted to move the marketing edge logo down here, but I wanted it right in the middle of that text. If I move this logo down, see the text is over it. Now, anytime in InDesign, if you have something that's not working, well, this is actually, let me finish this first. Okay, so the marketing edge logo. So when I have this logo here, there's some options here that I say I want the text to wrap around the logo. So now that I'm clicked on it, if you go here, right now, this little icon shows you there's no text wrap. That shows you that the text is going to go right on top of the object. But say I want to wrap it around. I click this wrap around object shape. So now when I move this logo, let me move this. If you want to put object, arrange, send back. Okay. Object, arrange, send it back. So again, that whole idea of layers, remember that everything in InDesign, Photoshop is everything in layers. So I wanted to move my logo to the top so I can show you guys examples. So I just right clicked on any element that I wanted behind the logo. So I would right click and then do arrange, and I can send it forward or backward, bring it to front. And that way I can click on what I'm actually trying to click on. All right. So now that my logo has a wraparound around it based on up here where I clicked on this option. So wherever I move my logo now, it just, the text wraps around it. I'm not sure where it is. Okay, well, we'll figure that out. But you guys get the idea of wraparound text. This.
That tool is good for image, don't you? Yes, when you want to put image and text around the image or something.
Yes, yes, you can use an image as well. Let me show you. So for example, we'll go back to our rectangle frame tool. Let's bring in another image because I do actually have another image. File, place. Let's bring in this bird. So I want to get this to fit into the bounding box. Now, Elise, do you know how to do that? What do I have to click?
Okay, was it a right click on the object and then I can't remember what it's called. Fitting. Okay, yeah. And so then fit proportionally or fit to frame.
Yeah.
It kind of depends.
Yeah, it does depend on what you're looking for. You're absolutely right. Fit content proportionally. So we got our little bird in there. Now that he's in here, you see how he's on top of that text? But let's wrap him. Let the text wrap around him like that.